Winner of this series here will win this group, thus skipping the round of 12 madness and going directly to a quarterfinal. If it's a 2-1 victory for either or a 3-0, they get first. There is a slight chance for the Viper that if he loses today, he would end up in third place, which could have some ramifications on matchups. But it's a play all three. We've got El Dorado, and Nilly, this is a map that's been around for a while. And these are some classic Civ picks for El Dorado. Not what we've really been seeing in TTL from other players.
Yeah, especially Mayans, I think, didn't get too much love. Although we have to say, you probably... no, you still loom on this one, right? Yeah, it's not a house start.
Yeah, you still do.
Chinese, I think, widely considered to be the best civilization, simply because you have so much food directly under the town center, and therefore your idle TC time will be absolutely minimal. And we see the Viper already ahead by 2 villagers. Once we are a bit later into the game, against other civs, it might be even close to 3. Against Mayans, it will stay around those 2.
Yeah, and Lierey's wandered forward here just to find Viper, and he's found the deer. And he's going to go try and push this deer all the way back to his base, which honestly doesn't feel like it should matter that much with the amount of food you have underneath your TC here. But what I've found, Nilly, is that the player who dominates water the most on this map always wins. I can remember an example of this one guy who's named after a hippo who did it in gold. I can recall games where we've seen Hera doing it, we've seen Viper doing it. It's just like, if you have the fish, you have that food income, it doesn't matter. I mean, it does matter, of course, if your opponent has the golden stone, but that's not everything, right? And so with Mayans Chinese, instead of like Japanese, Dravidians, Malians, and all these flexible water choices that we've seen very frequently in the past, I'm kind of curious to see how much they prioritize water, because Mayans Chinese almost always playing very heavily towards land.
Yeah, and I think that's why we don't see scout rushes at all, right? In the game that I faced, who was it? Kasva, I believe, right?
Yep.
And I think if you go pure scout rush, and you're basically giving up water, right? We're not on gold at all, and I think this is not the way to play. And that's why we so often see like an archer range, some archers being mixed in simply because you simply want to stay on that golden wood.
Yeah, and I mean, eventually, too, unless you're Khmer, which was actually on the ban list from Liereyy, it just gets so awkward if you don't have fish because the farming, right? There's no reason really to make a mill in the early game. So you won't have one, and then you have to place one, and then you have to farm around that and not your TC, and then your vills are exposed. And it's just hard to pre-plan for that, I feel, too, because there's so much food underneath your TC. You can stay there pretty much until you click the Castle Age sometimes, right? So it's a tricky map to get the balance down. Liereyy actually, I don't think, played it a single time in group stage, which I think should be notable here. But someone could correct me if I'm wrong on that. I know Viper's played it a few times.
Well, Viper had some crazy games in El Dorado, right? The game against Vivi, where he had no business winning. And
Agreed.
A crazy, crazy comeback by him. That hold there, wow.
Yeah, and then also against Sobek, where he Malay fish trapped around his starting TC.
Oh, yeah.
So I was talking about the draft, and with the way the draft was situated, there was 2 maps remaining. Liereyy got to ban one of them, and whichever one was remaining would be game 1. And he thought about it for a long time. He had to choose between Socotra and El Dorado, and he banned Socotra. So I was a little surprised by that, because at least on paper, I feel like if Viper won every El Dorado game, you haven't played it, maybe you don't want to put Viper in a position where he's comfortable, you know?
I was really surprised by the bans. I think Migration, for example, is not a great pick. I think the wall would have been way better for the Viper.
For Viper. Yes, agreed. Because Liereyy dominated in Migration as well.
Yeah.
So,
and I think like Liereyy instantly banned the wall afterwards, so he really didn't want to play it. And Liereyy, he's also a guy that kind of likes to play games where he knows what's going to happen, right? And we know he like his decision making on standard games, his micro, his macro, absolutely impeccable. And that's why he probably didn't want to play Socotra.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. Well, we are going to see a difference of approach here, and it's going to be villagers on gold for Liereyy, most likely into the mix of Navy and Archers. And Viper's going to go for Scouts. Now, I think what the water players have been doing in about a minute or so, that's where they'll have another villager go somewhere to build that second dock. So keep an eye on that, viewers at home. Right now, though, it's just going to be an Eagle from Liereyy and Q and the Archer range.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh. Viper killing some turkeys underneath Lierey's TC, and TCs don't hit anything, and there weren't many villagers there, and 400 food down the drain there for Liereyy. Viper wants that first place.
Yeah, and for Mayans, like, in some form even more, right? Because your food lasts a bit longer. So big loss there, and Viper has to be happy how that one went. Is now going for the Archer range himself. Needs to go on to gold ASAP. Can only afford one single fire galley.
Yeah, that's a good point. Now, the positive here is it takes a long time for your opponent to get to you on water, but if the numbers snowball, it could be an issue. Right now, though, it still doesn't seem to me like Lierey's really prioritizing water like many other players have. It's just going to be land with archers, spearmen, and eagles. And oh my goodness, this is always so tough for the scout player, right? Because if you don't not on gold, as Viper runs into the units here, and so you can't just go skirmishers and scouts because the eagles counter the skirms, the spearmen counter the scouts, and then there's archers there to kill villagers as well.
That's why Viper needs to buy himself some time. Those walls are quite nice. Knows that the army is coming. Tries to be annoying with the scouts. And skirms have to defend. Right now, only one single archer. So not the biggest threat when it comes to killing villagers.
Yeah, Liereyy not walled either. Viper doing the right thing. No hesitation here to go forward. Liereyy sensed it. Added spears at home, though. Viper won't have any ranged units on the front. So Viper's got to make sure he doesn't run into those spearmen. He has no way of killing them. This is where Liereyy shines. Tiny little micro moments. We've seen multiple villagers go down in many instances, and Viper maybe even trying to trap Liereyy here, but it's a little ambitious, to be honest, as one villager goes down for Viper. Viper's scouts at home getting hit now, but he does back away. He will kill the spears. And it's worth mentioning that on the front, Viper took another hit on one of his scouts and also lost a scout. But overall, it's not too bad because he's got 2 docks making fishing ships nearly, and Lierey's still 1 dock.
4 out already, 2 more in the queue, and feels pretty safe. Feels like, okay, I saw that you didn't have the craziest amount of villagers on gold, and if you want to go Archer Eagle, you will be kind of tight on gold.
Yeah, and this is, I'm seeing, it's still a little too early to judge possibly, but I'm looking at how Lierey's playing this right now based on how I feel the map should be played and has been played by the winning players. I'm seeing a guy who just hasn't played it yet all season, right? And maybe hasn't seen what his teammate Hera's done. Like Hera to be on like 8-10 fishing ships already in the back of his base.
Well, let's remember there were El Dorado versions in the past that didn't have water on the outside, right? And maybe Liereyy didn't really think it through how important water could be, and collected resources already a solid 700 more for the Viper.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the 2 villagers, but then also the fish, right? So there's, this should continue to be really good for Viper as Viper ties up the KD, kills an archer, and he's just gonna fall back here. Viper walled up nicely on the right side, is starting to farm at home. He's actually gonna tower his gold here too, which honestly I don't mind, especially because his stone is so close. He could just play it safe, don't take any unnecessary risks here, and just mine the stone back if he needs to.
That's interesting. You can afford 1 tower and get to 700 stone. There can still build a castle in the center if you need to. And he simply wants to survive. Look at that. Resources. Not too far away from castle.
Liereyy, though, he is farming at home, and he's transitioned really quickly into that, we have to say. There's a lot more farms than I was expecting here. As fishing ships still working at home. He also is walled. So well played from him. I think castle age times will be very similar here.
I would think so as well. And yeah, Liereyy simply has to farm that much because he's stuck on only 3 fishing ships. That's not the numbers we are used to seeing.
No. And right before this, I was like, man, it really looks like Lierey's been prepared for all the maps he's played. But first time he's played El Dorado, and I'm seeing it. Viper's experience in the group stage in El Dorado definitely has paid off for him because he definitely had some testing with his strategies, right? He had Romans at one point. He then went for the Malay and the fish traps. So I think it's so important for players to get a feel for maps that they don't play a lot. And Viper's probably feeling so good right now. He'll be in Castle Age faster. He could just reposition off his woodline for the time being. And he's got a pretty significant eco lead with a good position to not only make army in castle, but also build a castle in the middle.
Also something, the Viper played the Champion Invitational before TTL, right? Where Liereyy wasn't playing, and Dorado was in there as well. So Viper could gain some more information how the meta is playing right now. And Liereyy, I would be really surprised if he actually watched any of those games.
Yeah, I mean, this is a conversation with Liereyy, right? He's not full-time Age of Empires. Yes, he's top 5, and yes, he plays amazing in tournaments. You literally use the words, I don't know how he does it, right? Right before this.
Yeah.
But, you know, maybe at least signs a game number 1 that he'll learn a lesson here, and it will help him in future games. But it's not going to help him in this play all 3 to get that win, as Viper comes in here with the scouts. We'll find 1 villager pick. And Viper's eco is going to be ridiculous to make knights in the next stage, Nilly.
Yeah, pretty crazy. Goes for more fires. Will run out of gold, though. Look at that. 400 left, and that's why he's going for the market. Is there maybe timing going for knights and then the castle in the center? It feels like there will be a spot where you can build one.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Liereyy trying to focus on water a bit more. He did see Viper's dock with his army, so that might have showed him that Viper was doing that. Lierey's got crossbow and bodkin on the way. Viper's going to the middle without army support. And I felt like he has the resources to make knights, and the middle's always visible, and Lierey's just going to show up here. And what a crazy move from Viper to move out. I mean, he's got to realize this and run away.
Oh no, he's trying to quick wall this. No, this is horrible! This will be every single dead villager.
Well, he can go to the left, at least, right? Because Lierey's going to have to loop around. But Viper is attacking Lierey's base at the moment. He won't kill much more than he already has, and he will lose these villagers. Oh, wow. I mean, the temptation to castle the middle is always there on this map. But to just waltz forward with no army support when you have the greater economy is just wild to me.
What was he thinking? Did he think Liereyy would play an eagle switch?
I have no clue what he was thinking. I mean, he didn't really commit much to anything here, Nilly. No elite skirm upgrade. Didn't even have a knight in queue. I think maybe Viper just thought he was going to win the game, but if your opponent's not on water, you're going to have to be on land, and it went from a very good position for Viper to possibly quite desperate now. His opportunity to use the early castle age just kind of disappeared. His eco advantage is not fully disappeared, but it's not looking good.
Ooh. Okay, deleted the foundation. Still has enough stone to build another one, but obviously now the dream spot is taken here. And Liereyy gets the center. It still is an interesting army composition, right? Knight, Scorpion. It's not super easy for the Mayans, but Viper, no gold income. He needs that castle ASAP.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, look at his eco setup. He's got 3 on farms, and then the rest are all on this forward wood line here. This is a dream for Liereyy if he wants to pick off some villagers. I think Liereyy needs a mangonel. If he is a mangonel, he could maybe contest this. Oh my god, Viper's just going to YOLO it here, Nilly. And I think Liereyy almost saw it and tried to block the foundation with the villagers, and he can't do it.
Double Scorpion. Still tries to get some hits in. Crossbows microing around. Scorpion's shooting at the smaller group. Oh, Lierey's getting so many villager kills.
He is. And Viper has to get this up to have any chance. This game will be over for Viper if he doesn't get this up. Liereyy doesn't have a real way to deal with the Scorpions, but he's out-microed them very nicely. The Vil count is even, though. And Viper has a mangonel as well.
Holy moly. And some more splits. Villagers now dying from Liereyy.
Viper has no gold to repair the mango. He had to sell wood quickly to repair the mango. Attack round from Viper lands. Villagers still aplenty here for Viper to finish the castle. I think the castle's going to go up here, Nilly.
Oh, but more villagers will die. Liereyy lost a lot, though.
Yeah, and Viper still has fish. Liereyy doesn't have fish, and Lierey's TC in the middle will be gone. The Eco KD will be even. Viper not even pulling side to side here, and now he does. And yeah, the castle's going to complete. Lierey's just going to tap out here, I think.
This is
what do
crazy.
you do when that castle goes up?
He still tries to micro like a young god, but 98%, the castle goes up, and both, like, so low in villagers here. 33 against 25 vills.
Yeah, seriously. And I think Liereyy realizes, oh shoot, I had army in the back of Viper's base that I wasn't really doing anything with. Liereyy will know he killed a lot of villagers. But he will lose that TC in the middle. He'll fall back to a TC himself. If Liereyy had a Mangonel there, where he could have used it against the Vils, or used it against the Scorpions from Viper, I think that might have made the difference, but it was just purely crossbow. Didn't really have many eagles there either. It was so close.
Nice micro nerd moment there at the top with the skirmishers next to the tower. Tries to quick ball now. We'll get it. Ooh, beautiful one.
It's kind of funny how there's not many villagers to hop inside the TC right now. So that you can just run right by the TC, but it honestly does feel like Lierey's little force here will get found. And Viper will have full access to the Golden Stone in the middle. And Liereyy just taps out and calls the GG. And to be completely honest with you, I think both players with some misplays in the first game in this series, like Viper going to the middle with no protection was wild to me.
Mm-hmm.
And Liereyy he didn't prioritize the fish as much. And in the end, Viper gets the job done after almost throwing the game.
Viper simply collecting 2,000 extra resources there. And I was surprised, right? I said it like, okay, he will go for 4 knights and then build the cars in the center. But he built the cars in the center without going for the knights. And that's why he got punished. And if Liereyy is a millisecond faster and builds a house where we had the foundation for the castle, Viper won't get the castle up and the crossbows actually defend everything. Yeah,
or like the castle has to go 5 to 10 tiles back, and then maybe Liereyy can defend the position a bit easier. Maybe Liereyy could have still taken gold in the middle, but definitely not the game that I was expecting here to start off the series, because both have been so strategically sound throughout the group stage, but a game that is still so important. It's $40 per victory, but the winner here will win the group, thus moving directly to the quarterfinals and kind of getting a bye of sorts. Viper will be happy with the win. He won't be happy with how he got it, but he'll be very happy with that win.
Yeah. And this is so incredibly good for him. Like, as we said, he should be really exhausting going into this one. So having a short game here, giving him a lot of rest in between games as well, the ideal scenario.
Yeah, that's true. So home map for Liereyy then is going to be Coast to Mountain. And imagine they'll start shortly. I want to look, like, how many times did he actually play Coast to Mountain, though? I don't think we saw it too frequently. Against Classic Pro, okay, he won with Mongols.
Okay.
Didn't play it against Tato. Didn't play it against Vivi. Didn't play it against Sobek. So Liereyy played 1 game on Coast to Mountain, and he played it with Mongols. It's not a lot.
Yeah, and Mongols is very, very, very different to any other ship on this map.
Yeah, absolutely. They're clearly the best. Viper did ban them on the draft. I also don't remember many Viper games, though. So let's see. Viper against Tato, no. Viper against Vivi, no. Viper against Sobek, no. And Viper against Classic Pro, no. So Viper hasn't actually played it one single time. So
it didn't have any changes from previous versions, though, right?
Correct. And I know Viper... Well, I know he hasn't been watching every game. Probably not even close to every game. But he's done enough... He's probably had enough conversations with his teammates, as well as he's done like 1 or 2 watch-alongs where I know at least his eyes were on the screen the whole time. Where he might have a solid play. I mean, I think your point's really solid here. You're pretty much doing the same type of thing that you would have done in Coast to Mountain in the past. There's just been slight tweaks, I think, to what players try.
Well, we have more civs, right? We didn't have Dravidians in the past. Like,
yeah.
That certainly changed. And we played Mongols, Spanish, Berbers were kind of the 3 dominating civs there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think Viper may have picked Japanese for either El Dorado or Coast to Mountain. And I know that GL players have liked Japanese, doubted that earlier today. But I feel like Japanese versus Berbers is tricky. So I wonder if Viper maybe swaps his outlook and he tries to go Italians here, which hasn't been picked a lot, but I could see an argument for, and then goes Japanese on migration. It's tricky because, like, you pretty much just need one more win if you're Viper.
Yeah, that's actually true. But Italians on migration is just very, very solid.
Yeah.
I think, if anything, Is Roman's Man-at-Arm an option?
If it's going to be something that Viper tries here, I guarantee you it hasn't been tested. Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe, but no. Romans against Berbers? You don't have a single good option against Camel Archer. I guess Scorpions, maybe.
Yeah, no, it would be the Man-at-Arm opening, and you try to get an early big advantage for sure.
Yeah. And he goes Japanese. And Japanese actually face up quite nicely against Lierey's civilization, which I thought would be Berbers. It's not going to be Berbers. It's going to be Malians.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Well, he picked Malians quite early, right? So makes sense that those will be used.
Yeah, that's true. So these two civilizations have been seen quite a few times in TTL Gold and then TTL Platinum. We've got the Malians for Liereyy as he looks to tie up the series. Remember, it's play all three regardless. So if Viper does win this game, even though, yes, that means he goes to first place, we still would see the third game. And the third game will be pretty important depending on who wins this one because it could affect Tato's chances at moving up. Cheaper wood buildings with the Malians. Players are very frequently going for the early dock and then chopping the straggler trees for some fishing ships. And we see the same thing from Viper, who's got the cheap mills, mining camps to work with his civ. Which civilization do you prefer here, Nilly, if any?
I think I slightly prefer Japanese, but it's really close. Both civilizations feel like in the top 5. Like, obviously, big gap to Mongols, and
yeah,
you have a better start for both civs. No crazy food bonus. Like, you can contest water. I think it's basically most of the time the better player wins. No, in Japanese versus Malians.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, there is this build going around, and I say going around as if people are trying to hide it. It's happened quite a few times where the players go land focus with both of these civs. With all that wood savings, you could build the second dock, and you could make fire galleys. You could then kill the opponent's fish and then secure the whole coast for yourself. But we also see some heavy investment into land because where the players are going to chop the wood and where they're going to end up taking gold is on the mountain. And actually, both their gold generations pretty far up that mountain, by the way. Enough where I think both players may actually just assume it's going to be closer and kind of be late to finding it. But
actually, I'm a bit sad. No. Actually, they found it already. At least Liereyy did, and Viper didn't.
He was close. Yeah. He was close, and Liereyy was really thorough. I mean, I did a couple practice games with this, right? And I kind of had to shift my focus in terms of how I presented it to people because I realized I always knew the Camel Scout was important, but I realized just how much there is to scout. And it always feels like you're missing one or two things that you should see next, But yeah, Viper actually sees it now. So well played. It's not a non-issue at this point. But from what I'm seeing with Loom coming in from Liereyy already, this is going to be water focus. This is really fast uptime.
What doesn't want to die against the Men-at-Arms, right? Sometimes you don't have enough food and feel like, okay, let's squeeze it in quickly. Also, let's be reminded that the fishing ships are just so much stronger for Japanese. So they feel like, okay, it is tough to snipe my fish. Therefore, it's fine if I play one dog. Plus, Malians also thinks, wow, it's tough to snipe his fish. That's why investing a lot will be tough for me. That's why, I think if Japanese are played, most of the time we see one dog versus one dog, but now villagers are moving and probably they're adding some dogs.
Yeah. Interesting. So, yeah, maybe 2 dock play for both with 3 fishing ships. Viper actually going for a 4th. So it will be a bit trickier for him to afford things. He's still got to send a lot of vills over to wood on the left and get vills to gold. And I think I like Viper's build-up for the build that he's going for, with the exception of the dock being late. But I still think the dock could be fine. He's going to get the wood. And for Liereyy as well, Liereyy needs to get the dock. Liereyy actually brought a second vill here, though. Nilly, that's a bit different. I wonder if he was thinking about fighting Viper's villager.
Feels a bit like it, right? Maybe for repair a bit more. Tries to get some shorefish. I'm a bit surprised with that as well. He's not building the second dock yet.
Yeah.
Floating a lot of wood. That's a mistake.
Yeah. No second dock, no second lumber camp. Dock's now going up. And, like, we came into this series expecting an elite level, right? Because that's what these two are capable of bringing. And definitely, at least strategically, at least with this, like, the lack of fish focus for Liereyy, was at least for me a little bit questionable in the first game, just slightly. Obviously, Viper won the game, was pretty questionable. He ran forward with 15 villagers with no protection, but he got the W, so that's all that matters now. I love Viper's eco setup right now. That's looking juicy there with the double lumber camp.
Yeah,
And
really
Liereyy, no
efficient.
land pressure.
Yeah, and that will take quite some time. So both players are opening fire galleys. Should be a really even trade. And then the big question is, are you even going for land? Like Viper is trying to build houses now, probably in a line, get himself some more control. And I wouldn't be surprised if we skip feudal land altogether.
Love the positioning of Viper's dock because it gives him such a safe little nook for his fish. It's really nice. On top of being Japanese, obviously, right? Lierey's fishing ships, if he wants to get value from his new dock position, he doesn't really have fish nearby.
Yeah.
Because he's docked next to Viper. So, you know, his fish will be less efficient. And Viper shows up with an early demo on top of having the 2 fires. This is because his docks were up a little bit faster. Not the best demo ever. He will want to kill off that, and he'll get it. And Liereyy retaliates with his own demo, which is much better.
Ooh, that's nice. Let's take a look. Can we get a repair there? Tries to get home as quickly as possible. Ooh, down to 6 HP. That's getting close.
And Viper will probably block here, which he does. Beautiful block. Liereyy desperate for that kill. The repair villager's there for Viper. And it always sucks to have to flee now if you're Liereyy, but it's probably the safe play because you don't know what Viper will have next. So just to explain some things, aspects of this map, like they are placing mill on hunt. Usually, we actually don't have a single mill on hunt for Liereyy, but he's bringing in rhinos instead. They are doing that. They are walling. They have to micro on water as well. So there's a lot. This is pure execution now. How's your macro and how's your balance while combining it with all these important water fights that could go incredibly wrong for you with one single demo.
Oh, let's take a look. Now big fight 4v4 fires here. Viper micros back. It feels like he's taking more damage, and Liereyy with nice micro.
Yeah, it's good micro. Waiting for the demos to come out. Both have a demo. Very weak units for Liereyy here. Viper's blocking with the forward fire. And the demo comes out from Viper, and Viper kills both the weak ships. That's worth it, I think, Nilly.
That's nice. Demo's trying to find something now. I think it could even be worth to suicide the demo going for the villager in the back. Look at that. Liereyy even sent the villager now.
Yeah, can't really attack it because of the fires. Viper lost a villager to a rhino, by the way. According to the stats I'm seeing on my screen.
He still doesn't have loom.
Okay. Well, then they're even on villagers. For as good as the initial dock position was for Viper, we should mention he's about to run out of fish here. But honestly, I think Castle Age times will matter the most here. Big investment on water from both of them. Just crazy investment.
Surprising, right?
Yeah.
Oh! Got in
Big
deep.
demo there. Food count for Lierey's looking pretty darn good right now, but Viper
Oh, this is good for Liereyy.
is thinking about land. Let's see. It looks good for Liereyy. He goes for the Vill with the demo. Thought about it. Demo lands from Viper and from Liereyy here. And God, it's so fun casting Fire Galley v Fire Galley. I'm gonna tell you. Looks good for Liereyy, like you said, Nilly.
I think it's really close. Really close.
Yeah.
If we see a repair, yeah, it's completely even, Tristan. Oh,
Viper
wow.
lost another villager to a rhino.
Oh,
another.
No. Oh, no.
I don't fully understand why we're not getting Loom here, but Viper should have more faith in his abilities than I have faith in my abilities, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think he simply forgot. I think he won't know that he doesn't have Loom now.
It's also possible he doesn't know he lost the villagers because he might not have been looking, right? Because he's looking at the water. So again, it's like really easy for things to get out of hand on this map.
Yeah.
Did Liereyy scout with the camel scout to see Viper has a barracks yet? Oh, Viper canceled his barracks earlier. Sorry.
He still has the camel here, which dies now.
Yep.
And he sees market blacksmith. So Liereyy should not expect anything on land. So yeah, no feudal units on land.
Well, had Viper not lost his villagers, I would say that he's in the better position. But I mean, it is super close. The only eco damage taken by either player was just Viper's villagers to Rhinos. Even the idle TC count is really even right now. So 2 players with civs that offer similar strengths have played very even here with their openings. But the uptimes matter a lot, and Viper being up pretty significantly faster because Liereyy didn't have his buildings will be nice for him.
I was a bit late on those. Maybe invested a bit too much on water. And Viper now feels confident, moving out, tries to scare those fishing ships away, and could get 1 kill.
Really like how Viper's thinking about a barracks now. Most players are adding a stable for a night or 2. If your opponent's open, you can kill villagers with that. And Viper's micro continues to be really good here on the coast, and Liereyy falling behind with numbers on water. And we know Viper will be in Castle H faster. Great micro from Viper as he saves another fire galley here.
Ooh. Still, Demo tries to shark in. Shouldn't suicide itself on the fishing
Japanese
ships. No!
That's got to be something Liereyy knows, right? He's probably regretting it now, but demos against Japanese fish never lead to there being kills there. And now Leary's completely lost water here.
Viper switches onto CA now. Is on wood, is on gold. Pretty easy transition for him. And, well, simply if you are up to Castle Age earlier, if you get to like 6 CA before the opponent can even get to proper Camel Knight numbers, you have to be pretty happy.
And look at the situation with the Camel for Viper. Viper sees what Leary's up to. He sees Liereyy just has the market. He doesn't see any military buildings. He sees Liereyy, if he continues to check, Leary's not even completely walled yet. And so Viper will have the fish. Viper will have probably second town center faster. It's just been all Viper with resources collected. With the amount of villagers lost to Rhinos, Viper's eaten everything.
Yeah, and now all the fish is gone as well. Viper already added some fishing ships as well. This will be tricky for Liereyy. I don't think he will have any chance to get a lot of map control in Castle Age. If he wins this one, it has to be an imp.
Yeah, and Cav Archer's actually a really nice decision here because you want mobility. And Liereyy, having lost the Camel, he's never expecting this. He didn't even know that Viper had made the barracks in the first place. And now 2 Cav Archers could just ruin his day in the back of his eco. But house walling, there's not many vills inside the TC though, Liereyy. It's not going to work.
Viper runs through, gets Botkin now. And that's a lot of houses. I think Liereyy will be fine. But obviously work efficiency goes down.
Yeah, worker efficiency goes down. Your confidence to move anywhere with your villagers from your starting TC to another direction, goes down as well. And it's hard to bet against the Viper when Viper has control. I think especially these days, right? Like sometimes he can lack a little bit of sharpness. You mentioned playing a tournament series for a long time before this as he kills a monk from Liereyy. And Leary's now barracks is going to be denied as well. But it's like if Viper if he gets to this type of position, there's very few things that people can do to break him.
I think if this is a best of 9, Liereyy resigns this game already.
Yeah. But it's essentially a best of 3. All games will be played, but in terms of what really matters for the placements, this game means so much for Liereyy.
Well, Liereyy is ahead in workers, actually. Look at that. He's 8 workers ahead?
Yeah. He has had the TCs much faster.
Oh, wow.
So he's had the TC on the right, which is good wood and food eco for him. Viper's Cav Archers can't go through. Couple Scorpions from Liereyy, and he might be able to stabilize and take this late game. And Viper just now adding his 3rd TC.
On the late side. But still, so much map control. Wouldn't be surprised if he gets to 3, maybe 4 relics even behind this.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And Liereyy has some exposed villagers. Look at that. In front of his the bottom TC, in the middle. What are those doing?
Oh, good question. I think he might want a 4th TC somewhere, or maybe he tried to click them onto the hunt and misclicked it. That would probably be my best guess. Is he misclicked, which is not something that you say all the time with Liereyy. But I mean, he's done. Lierey's done a good job not to break against this, right? Like, and Viper, he doesn't really have a mass that's gonna get kills right away. And when you split up the Cav Archers, and then you split up against monks and a couple scorpions, Liereyy could stabilize. Nice conversions.
Gets the CA, gets to heal them up as well. Let's take a look what happens with the 4 villagers there at the front. Viper, pretty peaceful towards them.
Yeah, well, I think Liereyy forgot they were there, so Viper doing Liereyy a favor. Attacking them. And okay, resources collected, still higher for the Viper. I should mention, Viper still doesn't have Loom, and I think you're right that he probably forgot it.
Yeah, now even
So
sends
if
a
there-
villager to the front. Ay, ay, ay.
If there ever is a counterattack, which was going to be the Cav Archers, but now the Cav Archers have died, it could possibly do a lot of damage to Viper.
Right now we are building our first camel. Now the second stable for Liereyy. This will be tricky for him. Sends some villagers out at the top. Doesn't have the stone to build another town center. Probably wants to buy it and go for the 4th one.
That's the position where I'd like to see Viper siege push. Viper siege pushing the middle. I understand the feeling because we saw it from players quite a few times during TTL, but I feel like the players who've really accomplished the most on this map, Nili, have kept that siege push there up on the hill. That's where all the stone and gold is. You really don't want to push the starting TC on this map.
Yeah, maybe it just feels like it's so tight there at the top, and if the opponent already has a siege workshop and the monks, you don't feel like you can maneuver a lot, but now you have to push up towards the hill, which isn't pretty.
Yeah, and Liereyy will have some siege, and Liereyy, it took a couple risks there, placing that TC, for example, but Lierey's on Camel. Liereyy is the same eco count as Viper. Viper no bloodlines for the Cav Archers, could be a big issue if he gets hit. And Camels do pretty decent bonus damage against the CA if they can get in close. I think Liereyy could realistically get a pretty solid mass going here. He's got every resource he wants coming in right now except stone.
Loom. He's coming in, and that's just one of the beauties of Age of Empires, right? People can have so different approaches to the game, and 28 minutes in, and we're in a completely even game. Although, so much went so different for both players.
But to take it one step further, the beauty of hybrid maps, right? The beauty of options on the map. This is a map that has had hunts, it's had a hill, it's had a coast. There's so many pros and cons. That's why maps like these are kind of my favorites, Nili, is just because, there are sometimes, I'm as big a fan of Arabia as the next guy, but you just don't have as many possibilities in some situations. So Coast to Mountain really's delivered, and it's been cool to see how Lierey's been able to hold on from a position that you said and I thought he might have even considered resigning in like 5 minutes ago.
Those could be really trapped. 3 monks, lots of camels, some from the bottom, some from the top.
Siege won't really contribute much to Viper against the camels. And did Viper just kill his own Cav Archer?
Yeah, you did!
Viper killing his own units. Viper falling back now. And the camels probably surprising Viper. And I wonder if even the score, just due to all of his navy right now, is making him think that he's got this one. But he's got to make a switch to pikemen and fast here, nearly. These camels are eating him alive.
Tricky. Can he get enough barracks out? Is building some more. Now conversions are coming in here. Gets 1 camel. Gets a 2nd camel. That's good for him.
Yeah, it is good for him, but he's lost a lot of Cav Archers. Right? Like, the Cav Archer mass isn't as high as he would want. He's going to trap the camels, though. He's going to trap the camels.
How pretty was that?
Liereyy needs to consider a different future for these camels here, and he's got to feel like, well, what do I do now? Because they could get converted. Do I delete them? I would probably delete them, and that's Viper for you. It's just like right when things start to look like they're gonna go awry, he gets the job done with the trap like that.
Oh boy. Buys himself so much time with that. And Viper now has enough stone to build a castle forward. Just killing so many camels as well. Look at how low they are in HP. Maybe even some more conversions. No, now the deletion.
Now the deletion happens. Yeah, and now Viper will have Japanese pikes, which attack quickly. He'll still have his monks. And now maybe is where he takes control of that hill. I'm still worried with no bloodlines on the Cav Archers.
Yeah, that's why the Mangonels and Scorpions are so efficient. Conversion count, 3 quick ones.
Yeah, good conversions from Viper. Camels will be very confused here. Bloodlines here for Viper as the Pikeman mass is climbing behind this. He clearly wants a castle somewhere that's a bit risky, right? Because he's saving the stone right now. He wants to win a fight and then drop the castle. That's what this feels like.
Yeah, and the moment he gets to like 12 pikemen, he should be pushing Liereyy back quite easily. He has nothing but camels.
Yeah, exactly. So great job from Liereyy to defend. I think, honestly, what Liereyy needs is he needs more siege. If Lierey's got like 3 mangonels, the pikes could all die. The CA could go down as well. Combine that with a couple conversions and the +2 armor he's getting, you never know.
Liereyy needs to switch. He can't stay full camel. Did he not see the pikeman? He saw the pikeman.
He sees the pikeman. He does lose the siege there.
Oh, now send the Wilds Viper.
Yeah, but like where though? Is Viper gonna castle the middle and not the hill?
Just the top. He has enough stone pretty soon to build a second castle even.
Yeah, true. Lierey's gonna take this engagement. He didn't see the pikes yet. He's got him now, and he does back away. He leaves some of the camels in the engagement because there weren't pikemen there. But Viper's gonna take map control, and if Viper can use this position, he will win the game, and we're not even gonna see the castle. Viper was actually gonna castle the other side where there was no army from Liereyy, and Viper, he is officially first in this group. We know that much. And I mean, the next game is going to be played anyways, but you got to say, same strategy pretty much from both of them. And better execution and transitions from Viper here.
Yeah, well, Japanese simply, right? Your economy bonus is just so sweet. Getting the extra food there. And then it was a bit smoother when it came to going on to deer a bit earlier, having the buildings a bit earlier as well. And then the big problem with Malians, what do you do against those pikemen and CA? You can't really go for skirms because if you transition into Imp, you won't get the proper upgrades.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Viper, obviously he executed a bit better than Liereyy did on water, right? But he was in Castle Age 2 minutes faster, and he didn't just sit back and boom. He applied pressure with it. The Cav Archers were in multiple spots. Liereyy really had to work hard to stabilize, and you just can't fall behind against a player like Viper, right? Because if you start to fall behind, he's got control over the game. He forces you to go into the camels. Well, guess what? He's got the next option planned. So Viper up 2-0 in what is a play all 3. We'll have one more game. I do just want to bring up one very interesting point here. Liereyy never played Coast to Mountain in group stage before today. This is the first time we played Coast to Mountain. No. Sorry. He played it one time with Mongols, Nili, which is by far the best Civ, and I think you and I both agree you really should always have that banned.
Or you're A in the draft, right? As B, you kind of need to ban it.
Yeah. And then in El Dorado, he had also never played. So Liereyy, who looked so good, he just didn't, so far anyways, get to play maps that he clearly had played before, which I think plays some type of a role in what we've seen from him.
It's so weird to play Coast to Mountain against the Viper. I'm really surprised. He had so many options, right? He could have gone for Land Madness, Golden Pit, Spiral. I think all those maps should suit Liereyy more than Coast to Mountain.
Yeah, I agree with you there. We did also, I mean, I was surprised that Viper picked Migra against Liereyy as well, to be honest with you. So kind of an interesting draft all around, I guess, in terms of what we would expect based on the player's strengths and weaknesses.
Yep.
I mean, it's less of a surprise that Viper would want to play Migration here than Liereyy wanting to play Coast to Mountain versus Viper.
The Migration. What are your thoughts right now on what are the best civs? Because I think 4 weeks ago, everyone would have said Italians, but lots of people starting to love Dravidians.
I think Dravidians is number 1.
Oh.
I think Dravidians number 1, Japanese and Italians 2 and 3, or 3 and 2, or tied for second or something. And I think it's solely because of how much wood savings they get and how much of a wood boost, I guess, they get. And they're almost always able to control the land with the build that at least Liereyy had done in the past, and I expect to see him try here. And I don't think there's a civilization that could do the build as successfully as Dravidians. You could still try and compete on land, but it's just so difficult compared to the Dravidians. Viper goes Portuguese.
Ooh.
Right.
He likes his Portuguese.
Yeah, so Viper goes Portuguese. Has always loved the Portuguese. At this point, less pressure on Viper as well because he knows he will be first place in the group, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think this, regardless of what happens in Tato's series, by the way, I think we'll have to fact check it later, but I think this is Viper 1, Liereyy 2, and then Tato 3 in the group.
Yeah, Liereyy, Tato can both get 11, but Liereyy won against Tato, so Liereyy is confirmed second. Yeah, it does not matter.
Okay, so this doesn't affect the group stage at all.
Mm-hmm.
Viper maybe picking Portuguese because he knows he's first and he wants to try something, test it out a little bit, because I felt like Italians was the way to go here otherwise.
Portuguese are top 5 as well, right? You win the 1v1 Fire Galley fight.
Yeah.
You have great Monks. You can play Victoria in the end. You have like cheaper Fire Galleys, which are really heavy on gold as well. Nice imp timings. Like I picked Portuguese as well, right? So I'm convinced they are top 5.
Okay. I think I agree they're top 5, but I think they'd be 5th. So, like, they're top 5, and then I'd put Italians, like, 1 or 2 civs ahead, I suppose.
Italians, Dravidians, Japanese is a question mark if they're better than Portuguese.
Okay. So it's close in your mind. We just haven't seen a lot, of it, and but you are right. Like, and think about what typically happens. You have Navy, but then you also see a lot of monks in the middle. Viper's really being patient with this deer, which is funny.
Yeah, really nice. And that's actually something I think people are heavily misplaying on migration, pushing in their deer too early.
Yeah, I agree. I thought about that the other day, right? Because it's like, as a player, you feel like you need to do something, and you're kind of stuck on this island. But in reality, because there's decay on hunt, you shouldn't have like 3 deer underneath your TC like you would do on Arabia.
Yeah.
You should wait until the deer's almost gone, which is what Viper's doing, and that's a good enough compromise for me. This deer's gonna finish, and he moves on to the next one.
Mm-hmm. And then only 5 on food is typically the approach. Viper keeps 6 on food. Could have had the villager on wood a bit earlier.
Yeah. I'm curious to see how many Liereyy sends to wood, because he also has quite a bit on food compared to what I would be doing here.
Tristan, fun fact. Do you know who doubt-faced last TTL playoffs in the round of 12?
I think it was Liereyy.
Doubt versus Tato.
Was it Doubt Tato?
Doubt Tato. 3-1 Tato. I'm just reading the GL Discord because Tato and Doubt already started trash-talking each other.
Okay, all right. Well, a little bit of rematch there. The Tato will still have a series to play, but I guess that series, it'll be potential $120 for Tato, right? $40 a win, which is no joke. But also will have big ramifications in Sobek's future. I actually think, though, from what I know about that group, that Sobek would need a 3-overs Tato to survive.
Something in that, like that.
Because Classic Pro is 3 and Vivi has 2.
Let me see.
And
are they facing
Sobek
each other?
cannot tie either of. Yeah, Sobek cannot tie either of them. He would have to surpass them, and Classic Pro Vivi play each other. Yeah.
1-4-1. Yeah, and he even needs Vivi to win 2-1.
Yeah, that's true.
The only scenario. Like Sobek 3-0 and Vivi 2-1 is the only scenario how Sobek is not moving to gold.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's fortunate for Sobek because he's going to look back at his series against Classic Pro and Vivi and think, man, I got one more win there. Things would have been a little bit different. But I'll tell you what about different. Viper still no second dock. That is not what we've seen with Italians, Japanese, Dravidians anyways on this map. He's staying on 1 dock. And Lierey's on 2, pumping out fishing ships out of both of them. So the Dravidian flexibility, having the docks give you population space really helps. But then you get the plus 200 wood when you arrive to feudal, and then when you arrive to castle. So lots of potential here for Liereyy to make more ships.
Mm-hmm. Viper's approach was simply second lumber camp before the second dock. Right now, fishing ship count is the same, but Well, Liereyy will overtake him quite nicely there. Give me your over-under. What do you think? How many fishing ships will Liereyy go for while advancing to Feudal Age?
He will go for... He'll have 11 in total. That's my number, just because in my brain, I think he went for 11 last time.
Okay.
But, I mean, honestly, I think rounded out at 10 or 12. And then it's all about timing the transport ship, so you could build your barracks and your stable on the middle. What I've found, and I've been doing mainly Nineville tests recently, which is a bit different, but it's actually really tricky to get the timing. It always feels more natural to make the barracks on your island and then build the stable in the middle. But I think the barracks offers you no value being on your island, so you should try and get it to the mainland.
Yeah, you're not really getting landed. I think the only civilization where you can build it on your own island is maybe Italians. To build condos at home if you're getting landed.
Yeah, but it's like...
That's a far stretch.
You already have a really big problem if they're going to be on your island, right? So it's like, I don't know if you'd think about it that way.
By the way, I'm happy to report Liereyy at 11 fishing ships.
It was going to be 12, and then he canceled one.
Maybe he was listening to the stream and thought like, oh, last time I won, I had 11 is what Tristan said. Let's cancel one.
I mean, he looked like he had practiced a dozen migration games with the build he did when he played in... when he was against Tato, actually, which I think was like week 1 or 2, which was also surprising. Because again, Liereyy, previous season, 9 wins, 6 losses. So I wasn't really expecting Liereyy to play as good as he did in the groups. But yeah, this is like borderline flawless right now with the timing. The transport ship will come out maybe a little late to make the stable in the middle, but the timing's going to be close.
Needs to land. He sends the villagers down. He can build the stable with 3 vills.
Yeah.
Looks good. Looks good.
Perfect. Yeah. And now, this is where I worry for every other civ, because Viper has to spend his wood on his market. He doesn't have the wood for the blacksmith yet. He doesn't have a barracks, right? So Viper's going to the middle, but he won't have army. And Liereyy already has ships queued. This is why I think no one can compete with the Dravidians. Because, like, Japanese and Italians have more savings. But how are you supposed to defend yourself on water and land right now against this?
I think Viper wants to not contest land. He wants to build a dock towards Lierey's side. No, now the barracks.
I think he must sense something's up here. And Viper now queuing up some ships, obviously not because he's been delaying it. No strategic choice, just the options. And we'll see how it goes. It's 13 fishing ships for Viper, which is a positive for him. I love the fact he's added the barracks. I'm a little surprised that Liereyy is sending his vills where he's sending them right now. I feel like even the scouts should be headed back over to where Viper was a couple moments ago.
I think it's mainly to build another dock.
Yeah, would make sense. You actually can't find a shorefish there.
Yeah, that's why he sent the scouts. Yeah, that's really unfortunate for him. Now he builds it, but...
Viper's added a spear. He gets a poke, which was nice. And Liereyy sees the villagers, and Viper's going to add his own stable. Good job from Viper to add the barracks. Viper must have known this was a possibility. Still won't be too easy for him to defend it. And also defend water, but he's given himself a good position. Like you mentioned earlier, Nilly, the Portuguese ships they do have more HP, which could be of use to Viper here.
Even goes for forging. I don't think that makes any difference for Spearmen against scouts, does it?
I mean, it obviously makes a difference, but is it worth it? I actually like it a lot because you're going to be floating a lot of food. So it's not the biggest deal.
I would prefer the first wood upgrade over forging, but that's just me.
Okay, I agree. I can agree there, Nilly. Just think about some of the things that have happened in this series, though. Viper losing 10 villagers, building a castle with no army, wins the game. Viper loses 2 villagers to rhinos, wins the game.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It's like, do you feel on some level like very jealous? Because I always feel like, man, I have to play borderline flawless what I'm capable of. and I still get smacked around.
Yeah.
And then like Viper's just able to have some moments here or there, and
You're not
Florida's
playing
gameplay's
Liereyy
so
at
good.
the same time.
Exactly. Yeah.
It doesn't feel fair sometimes, yeah.
Oh, no loom for Liereyy, by the way. His villagers are very unprotected here.
Uh-oh.
And we do see fights on water where Liereyy had the Work Alley upgrade faster than Viper, so it should be good engagements for him there.
Really good engagements. Uh-oh. Viper's in trouble.
Well, unless Viper kills all the villagers, that's a pretty big deal. But yeah, more ships for Liereyy and more units on land for Liereyy. And Liereyy will clear up the spearmen from Viper. Liereyy has loom now. And Viper really struggling just to be able to compete with the numbers.
Oh, gets the spearman.
Ooh. I think losing the monk, also a little painful though for Liereyy, you have to say. Also, he seems a little undecided on where he wants to place his TC with those two villagers. But 4-1 KD with the eco, and Viper will also lose his transport ship.
Oh, very hilly here. Yeah. Oh, Viper couldn't really keep up with the macro.
Yeah. I mean, he has been spending his resources pretty frequently here. He's placed the TC. He's been making Navy. But Lierey's kind of been all over him. The one big thing for Liereyy, of course, is will he build the TC? Because Viper has a TC that's on the way up. Unless the gate goes down, we actually have a pause at a really crucial moment here.
And this is ugly, right? If Viper is not 100% watching now, maybe his screen is at the water and then he wants to focus on something else.
Yeah.
If those light cap are breaking the gate, killing... Yes. Oh, this is getting tight.
That was so close. That would have lost the game for Viper right there. Big demo from Liereyy, though. Could connect with Viper ships. It's not going. And I think we're having freeze problems for Liereyy because we have another pause. And there's a 20-second difference, and Liereyy said go for both of them. So I wonder if Liereyy was unable to see what was happening there. I'm going to quickly just check the Discord.
Okay, I see.
Where they're chatting and see.
Tagged. Yes. Game was running for me already.
Okay. And Liereyy says it's fine, only froze for a bit. They're going to continue here. And Viper's TC will go up. So similar eco counts right now. Viper just with down a fishing ship. And Viper still able to compete a bit on water. But he is just heavily outmassed by the fire galley numbers from Liereyy.
Oh man, this is looking tricky. No, still goes for more spearmen. Liereyy completely skipping spearmen here. A bit of a surprise, especially with Dravidians. You could have gone for the pikeman upgrade, so much cheaper.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe with Viper having monks, he felt it was a little questionable because they could get converted. I think, honestly, it's just there's so much focus on so many different things on this map. It's never easy to get the balance right. But I think Viper's just completely wrecked on water here, nearly. Like, he's going to lose all of his fishing ships because he's got 2 fire galleys. Liereyy has 10.
Oh, wow. Still tries to defend, but those are high HP fires that came over there. Viper's trying to defend. This would be tricky, though. No chance for repair. Yep. Liereyy has to be happy how water's going.
Yeah, and no chance for Viper to save his fishing ships in an area of value, right? It's not like he has another dock he can sneak to. Those fishing ships will come right towards the fires. And in the middle, Viper's taking a horrible fight as Liereyy is just dominating Viper here on migration. Funnily enough, a map I don't recall Viper playing at all in the group stage, yet he picked it as a home map here. And Viper, he believes in his Dravidians, right? But he wasn't able to pick them here. It was Liereyy who picked them first. This is crazy from Liereyy. What do you do here now from Viper's position? Your TC's up, but you don't have food income. Do you have any ideas that you could maybe give Viper, not that he's listening?
It's like water feels so lost. No fish. You're like, even Liereyy is now adding some fishing ships behind this one as well.
Yeah.
I think you kind of need to YOLO on land, but how do you do that against 9 light cav out already? I think you have to hope for more freezes from Liereyy.
That was not what I was expecting you to say. I thought you were going to say, like, you have to sneak a forward dock and try and kill the fish or something. Yeah, so, also, you're behind the eco upgrades. Like, this is just brutal.
Yeah, Not having any wood upgrades is really shocking.
But, you know, since we're going to cast more games together in TTL, my opinion on record, again, is I think Dravidians are so good that if you're not picking them first, you should always ban them. That is how good I think they are on migration. Because there's never a world where you can beat them on water and compete with them on land at the same time. You can match them on water and try and hold on land with something like maybe Spearman investment. But if you try and do the same game, you will always lose, I think. And it will snowball in both areas with the fish and then the land control.
I still like Italians a lot.
Yeah, and Japanese. I think Japanese and Italians are the two that you maybe should consider. And Viper did have Italians. He's opted for the Portuguese here, obviously. But yeah, really hard to come back. Like, Viper's idle TC time is going to climb quite a bit because he doesn't really have food eco. And, you know, what you do as a player on a water map now is you just kind of hope that the score is all Navy from Liereyy and that Liereyy doesn't have eco.
But why? Why should Liereyy not have added any town centers here? You know that Lierey's economy had to be so much better.
The series has been very interesting from a home map standpoint, right? Like, Liereyy allowing El Dorado to be game number 1 when Viper had won it 2 or 3 times, and he never played it, was wild to me. Liereyy then picking Costa Mountain against Viper was wild to me. And then Viper, obviously he's going to win the series and get first, but him going migration for a home map when Liereyy dominated in the group stage, and then giving Liereyy Dravidians, because that's the civ he dominated with, was wild to me. It just kind of felt like very backwards in terms of the strategy choices that the players have given the opponent a choice to play.
I think the wall would have been a very natural choice for the Viper.
For Viper, yeah. And Liereyy didn't ban it first, you said, right?
Yeah, he banned hideouts.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, the good thing for Viper here is the fact that we're not being overly critical about that because he is going to win the series anyways, right? So he gets a bit more experience here, gets to think a little bit more about it. Maybe he just gets to say to everyone, I've been telling you the Dravidians are insane. This is another example of it.
I think Viper now tries to get to Imp ASAP and plays like triple Victoria at home.
Yeah, I could see it.
Shouldn't you lose water without having the option for fast fires?
Where do you place the Fatorias where the Navy can't range it?
You can't. You need to win water as well.
Yeah. Viper wanted a castle. Liereyy obviously with full light calf control. And Lierey's just going to build a castle directly on Viper's face. The Viper's castle will, wherever he places it, even if it goes up, will not be able to protect that TC. And Liereyy must have noticed the villagers have made a run for it here. And Viper is going to quickly wall this. And, okay, drops the castle on the other side.
Okay, but monks can still be around, 3 of them. Now a transporter is needed, but look at that, 4 monks. Yep. I don't think this castle will go up.
Yeah, you convert 4 villagers, and then you use those villagers to fight Viper's villagers. Indeed. Yep. Viper has villagers that still need to build the gates as well, and I think Liereyy also should just try and prioritize the Imperial Age.
Absolutely. More water now. Kind of interesting.
Viper has sniped some fishing ships in the north, so I think that might be what Lierey's reacting to.
Yeah, Liereyy
as well as the south, I believe.
I think Liereyy was up to like more than 15 fishing ships.
Yeah, Viper killed quite a few. Viper tries to wall in the villagers that used to be his villagers so he can complete this castle. But I mean, the monks are going to get their faith again.
True. Oh no, gate is open.
Where are you go? I mean, I would run too. Good for you, villager.
Oh man.
It's not worth it.
Not even converted. Yeah.
Go down. Viper has had a doubt castle here. Viper is on the way to Imp. Liereyy is not. Liereyy, though, with 101 villagers. Viper at 48. So this seems pretty over.
Viper tries to land again. Tries to get a castle up at a different spot.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna land anywhere and YOLO a castle to give yourself a shot, it's gotta be where Lierey's town centers are. And if you get it up, then hopefully it does a lot of damage to Lierey's eco.
Look where it's landing. And look where the light cav are.
Oh, no way, Liereyy. That's so good. So attentive from him here, Nilly. And Viper's going to have another castle denied. And Viper just says, okay, screw it. I'm going to have the tap out here. And the good news for Viper, of course, is he still wins the group. He will go directly to the quarterfinals. Bad news for Liereyy today is that he'll be in second place. So he will go to the round of 12 playoffs. Still being one of the favorites, I think, Nilly. But honestly, my confidence in Liereyy as a whole going forward dipped a little bit today just with the draft and the maps that he played, because it didn't look like he had practiced these maps. And I was expecting him to play more towards his strengths, right? Like maybe Land's Madness, maybe Golden Pit, maybe something that he had played a lot more in the earlier rounds.
Yeah, I'm not too happy as well. Maybe it was him squeezing in those maps to get a bit more practice on them.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure. Who is he facing now? He will face the third place finisher out of Group A, right?